Om Shanti. This is the Sakar Murli of 24th July 2024. Essence. Sweet children, learn from the Father how to do wholesale business. Manmanabhav. And remembering Alpha and reminding others of him is wholesale business. All the rest is retail. Question. Which children will the Father welcome to his home? Answer. The Father will receive in his home the children who follow the Father's directions very well. Those who don't remember anyone else, those who break the yoga of their intellects away from all their bodily relationships, including their own bodies, and who stay in remembrance of the one Father. The Father is now making your children into beautiful flowers, and He will then welcome you, flower children, to His home. Om Shanti. You have to sit here in remembrance of the Father and of the land of peace and the land of happiness. You souls must only remember your Father and forget this land of sorrow. This is a sweet relationship between the Father and the children. There isn't such a sweet relationship with any other father. One relationship is with the Father, and then there are also the relationships with the teacher and the Guru. Here, all three are one. If you remember even this much, it is a matter of great happiness. You have found the one Father who shows you a very easy path. Remember the Father, the land of peace and the land of happiness, and forget this land of sorrow. You may tour around and let there be this remembrance alone in your intellects. There is no mundane business, etc. here. You are sitting at home. The Father is telling you to remember just 3 words. In fact, it is just one sentence. Remember the Father. By remembering the Father, you remember both inheritances, the land of peace and the land of happiness. It is the Father who gives you everything. By remembering Him, your mercury of happiness rises. The happiness of your children is very well known. It is in the intellects of your children that Baba will receive you at home and welcome you there. But only those who follow the Father's directions very well and who don't remember anyone else. Break the yoga of your intellects away from your bodies and all bodily relationships and constantly remember me alone. On the path of devotion too, you did a lot of service, but you didn't find the way to go home. The Father is now showing you such an easy path. Simply remember, the Father is the Father and also the teacher. And He gives you this knowledge of the beginning, middle, and end of the world, which no one else can explain. The Father says, you now have to return home. You will then go first into the golden age. You now have to return home from this dirty world. Although you are sitting here, you have now almost gone from here. The Father too is pleased. You children have been inviting the Father for a long time to come and you have now received Him. The Father says, I will make you into beautiful flowers and then receive you in the land of peace. You will then live number-wise. It is so easy. You must not forget such a Father. This is a very sweet and straightforward matter. Remember just the one thing, Alpha. Although he explains in detail, he finally says, remember Alpha alone and no one else. You have been lovers of the one beloved for many births. You have been singing, Baba, when you come, I will belong to you alone. Now that he has come, you have to belong to the one. Those whose intellects have faith are victorious. You will gain victory over Ravan. You will then have to go to the kingdom of Rama. You have gained victory over Ravan every cycle. As soon as you became Brahmins, You conquered Ravan. You have a right to the kingdom of Rama. You recognized the Father and claimed your right to the kingdom of Rama. But you now have to make effort to claim a high status. You have to become part of the Rosary of Victory. The Rosary of Victory is very long. If you become kings, you will receive everything. All the maids and servants are created number wise. Not all are the same. Some stay very close and they eat what the kings and queens eat. The maids and servants receive whatever is prepared in the kitchen. That is called 36 varieties of food. The kings are called multi-millionaires. The people cannot be called that even though they are not concerned about wealth there. That, however, is a sign of the deities. The more you remember Baba, the more you will become part of the Sun dynasty. You have to go to the new world. You have to become emperors and empresses. The Father gives you this knowledge in order to change you from ordinary humans into Narayan. This is called Raj Yoga. You are the ones who have studied the scriptures on the path of devotion the most. You children have performed the most devotion. You have now come and met the Father. The Father shows you a very easy and direct path. Remember the Father. Baba says, child, child, and explains to you. The Father surrenders himself to you children. You are heirs, and so he has to surrender himself to you. You also said, Baba, when you come, I will surrender myself to you. You said that you would surrender yourselves to him with your bodies, minds, and wealth. You only surrender yourself once, whereas Baba surrenders himself 21 times. The Father reminds you children. He can understand that all of you children have come to claim your fortune number-wise. According to your efforts, the Father says, sweet children, the sovereignty of the world is my property. Make as much effort now as you can. The more effort you make, the higher the status you will claim. The one who was number one becomes the last number. He will then definitely become number one again. Everything depends on your efforts. The Father has come to take you children back home. If you now consider yourselves to be souls and remember the Father, your sins will continue to be cut away. That is the fire of lust, and this is the fire of yoga. By burning in the fire of lust, you have become ugly. You have become completely like ashes. I have now come to awaken you. I show you the way to become Satopradhan from Tamopradhan. It is very simple. I am a soul. By being body conscious for so long, you were dangling upside down. Now become soul conscious and remember the Father. You have to return home and the Father has come to take you back. You invited the Father and He has come. He makes impure ones pure. He becomes the guide and takes all souls back home. It is souls that have to go on the pilgrimage. You have the Pandav community. The Pandavas didn't have a kingdom. There was the kingdom of the Kauravas. The rule of kings has now finished here. The condition of Bharat has become so bad. You were worthy of worship, masters of the world, and have now become worshippers. So no one is a master of the world. Only the deities become masters of the world. Those people say that there should be peace in the world. You can ask them, what do you call peace in the world? When was there peace in the world? The history and geography of the world repeat, and the cycle continues to turn. Tell me when there was peace in the world. What kind of peace do you want? No one will be able to tell you. The Father explains that there was peace in the world of heaven. That was called paradise. Christians say that 3000 years before Christ, there truly was paradise. Their intellects neither become divine nor stone. It is only the people of Bharat who become those with divine intellects and those with stone intellects. The new world is called heaven. The old world cannot be called heaven. The Father has explained to you, children, the secrets of heaven and hell. This is retail. In wholesale, he just uses one expression. Constantly remember me alone. Only from the Father do you receive the unlimited inheritance. This too is an old matter. 5000 years ago, there was heaven in Bharat. The Father tells you, children, the true story. The story of the true Narayan, the story of the third eye, and the story of immortality are very well known. Each of you also receives a third eye of knowledge. This is called the story of the third eye. They have made that into a religious book of the path of devotion. Everything is now explained to you, children, very well. There is retail and wholesale. Baba gives you so much knowledge that even if you make the whole ocean into ink, you cannot reach the end of it. That is retail. In wholesale, he simply says, Man mana bhav. There is just the one expression and only you understand the meaning of it. No one else can tell you that. The Father did not give you knowledge in the Sanskrit language. Whoever the king is, he uses his own language. Our language will only be Hindi. So why should you learn Sanskrit? People spend so much money. When anyone comes to you, tell him, the Father says, remember me. And you will receive the inheritance of the land of peace and the land of happiness. If you want to understand this, sit here and understand it. We don't have anything else to explain. The Father only explains Alpha. Only from Alpha do you receive the inheritance. Remember the Father, and your sins can be absolved, and you will become pure and go to the land of peace. People say, O bestower of peace, the Father alone is the ocean of peace, and so they remember him alone. The Father alone is the ocean of peace, and so they remember him alone. The heaven that the Father establishes will be here. There is nothing in the subtle region. Those are just visions. You have to become angels like them. You have to become that they're here. You will become angels and then go back home. You receive the inheritance of the kingdom from the Father. You receive both inheritances of peace and happiness. No one apart from the Father can be called the ocean. The Father is the ocean of knowledge, and so He alone can grant salvation to everyone. The Father asks you, I am your Father, teacher, and Guru, and I grant you salvation. And so, who then takes you into degradation? Ravan. This is a play about degradation and salvation. If anyone is confused, he can ask. Many questions arises on the path of devotion, but there are no questions on the path of this knowledge. In the scriptures, they have caused so much defamation of Shiv Baba and the deities. They haven't left anyone out. This drama is predestined, and they will also do the same again. The Father says, this deity religion is one that gives you a lot of happiness. This sorrow will not then remain. The Father is making you sensible. Lakshmi and Narayan are sensible, and this is why they are the masters of the world. Those who are senseless cannot be the masters of the world. At first, you were thorns, and you are now becoming flowers, and this is why Baba brings a rose and says that you have to become such a flower. He himself comes and creates a garden of flowers, and then Ravan comes to make it into a jungle of thorns. It is so clear. You have to think about all of these things. Everything is included in the remembrance of one. You receive the inheritance from the Father. This is great prosperity. You receive the inheritance of peace because He alone is the ocean of peace. You would never praise a physical father in this way. Sri Krishna is the loveliest of all. He takes the first birth, and this is why everyone loves him the most. The father gives his children news of the whole household. The father is the real businessman, but hardly anyone does such business as he does. Scarcely a few become such wholesale businessmen. You are wholesale businessman. You continue to remember the father. Some make a bargain in retail and then forget. The father says, constantly continue to remember me alone. Once you have received your inheritance, there will be no need to remember me. In worldly relationships, when a father becomes old, some children support him till the end, whereas others squander all the wealth as soon as they receive it. Baba is experienced in all of these things. This is why the Father made him his chariot. He is experienced in poverty as well as wealth. He is experienced in everything. According to the drama, there is just this one chariot. This one never be changed. The drama has been created and there cannot be change in it. After explaining everything in wholesale and retail, he finally says, Manmana bhav, madhyaji bhav. Explaining everything is included in Manmana bhav. This is a great treasure with which he is filling your aprons. Each imperishable jewel of this knowledge is worth hundreds of thousands of rupees. You are becoming multi-million times fortunate. The Father is beyond being happy or unhappy. He observes the drama as the detached observer. You are playing your parts. I am the detached observer playing my part. I do not enter the cycle of birth and death. No one else can be liberated from this. No one can receive eternal liberation. This eternal drama is predestined. This too is wonderful. A whole part is recorded in each tiny soul. This imperishable drama can never be destroyed. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost, and now found children, serviceable children, number wise, according to the effort you make, love, remembrance, and good morning from the depths of the heart, and with lots of love from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children. Essence for Dharna. Just as the Father surrenders himself to you, children, similarly, once you surrender yourself fully to the Father with your body, mind, and wealth, you claim the inheritance for 21 births. Second, keep your apron constantly overflowing with the invaluable, imperishable treasures that the Father gives you. Stay in the constant happiness and intoxication that you are multi-million times fortunate. Blessing. May you experience and enable others to experience the property and personality of Brahmin life and thereby become a special soul. Babdada reminds all of you Brahmin children that it is your great fortune that you have become Brahmins. However, the inheritance and property of Brahmin life is contentment, and the personality of Brahmin life is happiness. Never be deprived of this experience to which you have a right. Since the bestower and the bestower of blessings is giving you the treasures of this attainment with an open heart, you should experience them and also enable others to experience them, and you will then be called a special soul. Slogan. Instead of thinking about the last moments, think about your last stage. Om Shanti.